Welcome, welcome back to another conversation. I am joined here with Christine Rene, and I am wildly excited for today's conversation. This was one that we've been wanting to do for a while, and I'm really excited to get to bring this to the podcast because we're going to be diving into a modality that we teach to our advanced shamanic Reiki students, which is called Soul Speak. And this was a modality that I kind of co created in inspiration with the divine as a way to get people to listen to the voices of their intuition. And if you go way back in the podcast archives, way back to when we were still Reiki Cafe Radio, we actually do have a demo on the podcast from several years back of a Soul Speak session that I did with someone. And it was for a while one of our most popular episodes to listen to. And even I love to go back and listen to it sometimes because it was just so fun to record. So I'm really excited to get to dive into Soul Speak today with you all. And Christine is going to be our demo person. And this is all leading up to a very special masterclass that we're going to be releasing starting on March 25th. We'll be diving into Soul Speak over 4 weeks. So today you're just going to get a little taste of what Soul Speak is, a little background on it, and the demo with Christine so you can see just how wonderful this modality can be. And then if you want to dive even deeper and learn how to hear your intuition just as clearly as you can hear your thoughts and your mind, then I highly encourage you to look out for all of the information on the workshop. We'll be announcing that in our emails and sharing it in our Facebook group very soon. So I'm very excited to dive in. And Christine, I'm so excited that you've agreed to be our demo for today.
I gotta say, I'm a little nervous because either for me as the demo person, I know that in the past, either it can be really hard for me to dive in, or I go so deep in that I don't even know what I'm saying. So, I can't remember exactly what I'm saying. And so I have these two contrast previous experiences and hope that we find some happy medium in there.
Yeah, so this is completely unscripted, you guys. Neither of us have any idea how this is going to go. This is purely going to be just a snippet, a taste of what it would be like if you stepped into a Soul Speak session with me. So before we even dive in, you guys are probably sitting here thinking, well, what is Soul Speak? Why am I listening to you talk about this? So Soul Speak for me was created, and it's 11:11 my time as I'm saying this. Soul Speak for me was created because I really firmly believe that that voice that we hear when we think of a gut instinct or that whisper of our intuition or that little voice that says, hey, maybe you should do this instead, that we have tamped that voice down, right? We get the gut instinct every now and then. We get the intuitive hit every now and then. But one of the most common questions that we get asked when people come into the Moon Rising community is, well, I want to learn how to develop my intuition. I want to learn how to connect to and trust my intuition. And comparing that with so many people who are saying, I don't know how to turn my mind off. I don't know how to know what's my mind versus my intuition. I don't know how to calm the monkey mind, feeling like we're so caught up in this cycle. And as somebody who loves psychology and loves spirituality and loves finding the connections between the two, I was really noticing that we're always caught in this push and pull between our mind and our intuition. It's like we know what our intuition is trying to guide us to. We have this feeling, we have this internal knowing, and yet our minds are so loud and they're so logical and they're doing such a good job trying to keep us safe that we no longer know, well, is this my mind or is this my intuition? And so Soul Speak was really developed as this modality to say, look, yes, we can know exactly what we're thinking at any point in the day, right? If I asked you what you're thinking right now, you would be able to tell me. But if I asked you what your intuition is telling you right now, 99% of the time you would say, well, I don't know. I don't know how to listen to that. My intuition doesn't have a voice, it's just a feeling. And what Soul Speak is designed to do is actually give your intuition a voice that is just as clear as the voice of your mind. So that when you need to make a decision, when you're moving through your day, can we get you to a place where your intuition is just as clear as your thoughts? And this is really where Soul Speak came in. So I'm going to take you guys through a little 45-minute demo, give or take, with Christine of exactly how this would go with a client. Okay. And so I love to start this by saying that when it comes to soul speak, we're going to operate as if there are three main parts of our being, right? We have our mind, we have the logical problem solver, the thinker, the one that wants to have all of the answers to all of the things. But really, what it's good at is coming up with questions. You guys have heard me say on the show before that our mind is kind of like an Excel spreadsheet, it's a data keeper. It can log all of our past experiences and past outcomes and past feelings. And then it can kind of compute those and project them into our future and say, well, based on what's happened in the past, these are all of the possible outcomes here, right? So, in essence, our mind is limited. Our mind is a very limited space for perspective because every idea, every thought that comes through our mind is based on what it's previously had come through. It's based on our past experiences, our past memories, our past emotions, etc. Okay, so we kind of have this data keeper, this Excel spreadsheet of our mind. And then we have our awareness, right? We have this part of us that if you've meditated, if you've done Reiki, if you've done any kind of spiritual work, you know that you are the observer of your thoughts. You are the observer of the world. You aren't 100% your mind. You're also not 100% your intuition. You're the observer of both. And so then we can drop down into the depths of who we are, into this place that becomes the third part of our being, which is our soul, our intuition, our spirit, whatever you want to call it, this piece of the divine within, this part where all that is comes into you. So for this, for this modality, I like to call it soul because that resonates the most for me. But really, what we're looking at is this place within you that is all that is divine, that is connected, that is the truth with a capital T. And we all know that we have this part, right? Because we have our gut instinct. We have those moments where we're sitting at the red light and thinking, you know what, I think I need to turn right here instead of left. Or, man, I really need to go back into that coffee shop. And then you bump into somebody that you were meant to talk to that day, right? We all have these gut instincts. But a lot of times we say, well, that's all they are, right? They're only ever going to be gut instincts. There's no way for me to really tune into that. And part of this is because that spark of awareness that we have, that observer of all things, has been trained to believe that our minds are the ones that hold all of the answers, that our minds are the ones that have all of the information, all of the knowledge, all of the capacity to make decisions. And so our awareness is kind of drifted up here so that we are constantly aware of our thoughts because as a culture, as a society, we've been taught that that's where the answers are, that if we can logic something out, if we think about it hard enough, then we'll be able to find the right answer, right? But many of us come to spirituality because we have found that our minds are limited, that we have anxiety, that we have depression, that we don't know how to make the right decisions, that we get stuck in fear. And we know in the depths of our being that there's a better way, that there's a different way, right? That's why we start meditating. That's why we start doing Reiki. That's why we're called to shamanism, because we know that there's something more than our minds. But because we've been trained to have our awareness so tuned into our mind and to value our intellect so much, it's really hard for us 90% of the time to drop down into the depths of our being and connect with our soul. And so, what Soul Speak is going to do is it's going to help you drop that spark of awareness down into the depths of who you are so that instead of only hearing your thoughts, we can drop you in so that you can hear the voice of your intuition and the voice of your soul. And eventually, the goal through regular practice of this is that your little spark of awareness will get to sit kind of halfway in between. And you'll be able to hear your thoughts and be able to hear your intuition equally because they both have value. Our mind was designed to be a tool, but we have allowed it to become the only source of information. There's this wonderful quote that people say is from Einstein. It's not actually an Einstein quote. It's been misquoted, but the quote is something along the lines of the mind was created to be the servant and the intuition the master, but along the way, we've lost the master and given power to the servant. And essentially, that's kind of the paradigm that I'm looking to shift, that we're going to shift as we step into Soul Speak is, can we give our power back to our soul, back to that part of ourselves that is the truth, that is love, that is all that is, and allow the mind to go back to being a tool, to being the data collector, and not have all of the pressure to have all of the answers figured out right now. And so, of course, there are so many nuances to this, which is why we have that 4-week masterclass coming up so we can dive into everything. But as a start, Christine, as my demo person, do you have any questions based on that?
No, I think I'm good. Like I really am quite open to whatever shows up. And so I think that's one of the pieces for me in the past is if you are really stuck in the mind of expectations of what this is supposed to be and what this is supposed to look like, then it doesn't flow as easily. So I am just preparing on my end to just be open to however it shows up and reveals itself. And I feel like from comparatively from the last time I did this to today, it feels like I have even more so developed that sense of awareness of my soul and my soul speak. So hopefully this will go fairly smoothly.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I'm very excited to have Christine as our demo because the very first time that I did Soul Speak with Christine, the first things that she said when she came into session with me was, I don't think it's going to work. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. I remember you sitting there going, it's not going to work. And it did. And it was beautiful and it was lovely. And so I'm excited to see how we can drop you in because I've done this with probably hundreds of people at this point, and there's not been a single one that hasn't found the voice of their intuition and their soul. And it's a very magical, very intense experience when it happens because we're essentially retuning your awareness, retuning who you are to that song of your soul when we drop you in. So, for those of you listening along, if you'd like to follow along with this first part, we'll do a brief meditation and then I'll ask a standard set of 4 questions to make sure that we're hearing from Christine's intuition. And then from there, I'll ask Christine questions that are more specific to her. But if you want to follow along, if you want to try and hear from your intuition as we go, you are more than welcome to. And like I said, if you want to dive in deeper, you can stay on to ask questions or you can join us for that masterclass. So, Christine, I want you to go ahead and just close your eyes, settle back into your chair. We're just going to start by taking 3 deep breaths. 1 breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. And again, in through your nose, out through your mouth. One more deep breath in, deep breath out. I want you to just take a moment to notice your body. Notice how you're feeling, not judging or trying to change it, but just noticing, where are you at today? How does your body feel? Are there any areas of tension or tightness? And can you send your breath into those areas? Allowing yourself to relax and to sink deeper and deeper into this moment, deeper and deeper into your body, deeper and deeper into relaxation. And from here, I want you to place your awareness up in your mind. This beautiful thinking, problem solving machine that you have up in your skull. And I want you to just notice how your mind is feeling today. Is it calm or chaotic? Is it quiet or loud? Does it have a texture, a shape, a size? What energy does your mind have today? Are there any words that it's saying on repeat? Any phrases that it's coming to again and again? Again, not judging or trying to change it, but just becoming really aware of your mind so that you could pick it out in an energetic lineup. Almost as if you're trying to get the fingerprint, the energetic print of your mind. using your exhales to send away any thoughts, knowing that your exhale is going to be your friend in this experience, that the mind can't hold a thought and an exhale at the same time. So if at any point your mind tries to come in, you're just going to exhale and blow it away. So when you're ready, we'll use that exhale to release our awareness of our mind and start sinking our awareness down deeper into your body, down through your throat, sinking deeper and deeper, deeper and deeper past your collarbones, sinking deeper and deeper down through your heart, maybe even all the way to your stomach, until you find the space within you that feels warm, that feels like there's a presence, that feels like home. This space deep, deep within you that has depth, that feels safe, sinking deeper and deeper until you find this place within you. And just give me a little nod when you can feel it. Beautiful. Allowing your breath to help you sink deeper and deeper. Noticing what this space within you feels like. Does it feel calm or chaotic? Does it feel quiet or loud? Does it have a color, a texture, a shape, or a size? Just letting yourself sink in awareness of this space, allowing it to envelop you, allowing your awareness to sink in deeper and deeper until all you can feel is this warmth, this presence. Remembering your exhale whenever you need to go deeper. Knowing that all you have to do in this time and in this place is say exactly what you hear, allowing any words or images to bubble up from within you, repeating them back exactly as you hear them. No need to just add I heard or I saw, but just exactly as you hear them. Allowing your mind to release, to trust that we'll ask the right questions as you sink deeper and deeper into this space. Another deep exhale here, connecting to this space within you. When you're ready, we'll start with our first question. Soul, is Christine okay?
Of course.
Good job, Christine. Soul, is she loved?
Yes. Immensely.
Soul, is she enough?
Yes, always.
And soul, is she safe?
Yes, forever.
Soul, what does Christine need to know most right now? Good, exhale.
It is safe to be childlike, with childlike wonder, to experience the wonder of the world around her.
Beautiful, sinking deeper and deeper. Soul, does Christine's mind believe that it is safe to be childlike?
No,
Good job. Why not, soul? From your perspective, why doesn't the mind feel safe?
fear of rejection and judgment.
Why does Christine's mind have this fear of rejection, soul?
Patterns of the past,
Are they her patterns or someone else's?
cultural patterns, expectations from the society in which you live.
Which of those patterns is weighing most heavily on Christine right now?
There's a weaving of time and space, and the heaviness is when there seems to be this linear need.
Mm. What does linear need mean to you, soul?
The structures, the congruence of pressures, outwardly pressures.
And how are those patterns impacting Christine's mind in particular, soul?
To her, it feels like she is walking a balance beam. One misstep and she will fail.
Soul, from your perspective, will she fail?
Of course not.
Why does her mind think she will?
It's a self-protection mechanism. It's false, of course.
Of course. What is it protecting her from, soul?
The truth of the matter is that her ability to shine her light in its fullness can cause a reaction from others that will either help them expand in their own lightness or can attribute to others jealousy or judgment, for they are afraid of their own true light.
Good. Big exhale, Christine. Soul, what is your story about the story that the mind just told? What is your perspective here?
To be the light is to be God,
Mm.
to be the goddess in which she is already, to remembering who she is, all that she is, and to embody it.
So, what does her mind need in order to feel safe in that space, soul?
To just do it anyway.
Soul, that is so much easier said than done. What fears does that bring up for Christine's mind at the idea of doing it anyway, soul?
There is fears of her days of being on this earth as a witch, where if her community understands exactly who she is and what she does, that they will actually turn against her instead of embrace her. There is that, the physicality of the community in which she lives, because she does not live in a spiritually based community. but rather a values-based community, which is much like her own. And yet she also has this very elaborate online cyberspace community in which she works. And although that community is very understanding, there are those amongst them that she fears will turn against her.
Good. Big exhale, Christine. Soul, will Christine be rejected in this lifetime?
Yes, it is inevitable. We will all experience rejection in this lifetime, for we are on earth. It is not meant to be an easy playing field, but a place to learn lessons. So rejection, yes, is a part of that.
And is it rejection on the level of the mind, soul, or on the level of the soul?
On the mind.
Can she ever be rejected on the soul level?
No, for we are all one.
So, why does she have to experience rejection on the mind level? Is there a way for her to avoid that, or is it part of the journey?
Rejection from the mind so that she remembers who the soul is, that she cannot be rejected.
So, it's to help her see through the illusion.
Yes.
What illusions is she still playing into in her life right now, soul?
The scarcity of time, predominantly. There's not enough time.
Soul, from your perspective, what is time?
Time is like stepping stones. Each stepping stone has a period or phase or season of life in which to understand oneself and the world around us to a deeper level. And we take the path of stepping stones, learning our karma and our dharma.
Good. Deep exhale. Soul, is time an illusion, just like the rejection that we just talked about?
Time is an interesting thing. It depends on where you are in spirit and form and matter. In spirit, yes, time essentially is an illusion, but there's a physicality in which you live on the earth, which requires some amount of understanding of time.
So, soul, what does Christine need to know about time for her life right now?
That it's like skipping rocks, that it can skip across the clear lake, and the intention behind throwing the stone is what matters.
So, soul, from your perspective, is there such a thing as not enough time?
Oh, there's plenty of time. And she
So,
doesn't
what makes us
want to,
feel like there's not enough time?
oh, the mind gets in the way.
Why?
The structures of society is often the issue. The understanding that children need to be at a school at a certain time, that deadlines occur. And she has found such grace and wisdom in learning her own needs and listening to her inner voice, so that much of it is set aside. She listens often very well, to what her body needs and letting go of the rigidity of time. And yet she woke up today remembering that the podcast needs to be edited and there is a deadline, there is time.
What does she need to know about stretching time within those deadlines, Soul?
That she created the deadline.
Why is that important for her mind to know, Soul?
That it is all a choice.
Why is that choice so powerful, Soul? How does that connect back to the intention of skipping the rock that you mentioned earlier?
When we can recognize that everything is a choice, we remember our intentions. When we walk through life, forgetting our intentions, forgetting our soul's path, that is when we lose our way and get lost in time.
Mm. So when we feel like there's not enough time, Soul, it means we've lost connection with our intention.
Yes.
How can we come back into alignment with our intention in those moments?
To sit, to be still, to connect, to align.
What does aligning look like for Christine in those moments, Soul?
Her yoni yoga practice serves her very well right now. It helps release any intense emotions and brings her body into a state of alignment.
So, Soul, when she's rushing and feeling like there's not enough time, you're asking her to sit and do a practice that will, to the mind, take up more time. What is your perspective on that?
When the practice is done, everything is more efficient.
What does her mind need to believe all of this, Soul?
Evidence for now. There is more and more evidence that the more she practices, the more she is in alignment, the more easier things become.
What story does the mind tell that pulls her out of alignment with her intention? Which story is the loudest right now, Soul?
That she is not enough.
Is she enough, Soul?
Oh, yes. Much more
How
than
do
she
you know
believes.
that? How do you know that she is enough, Soul?
Because she is a soul. She is a spark of the universe.
So
She is,
she doesn't have to prove her worth.
no, she is the chosen one for her lifetime to execute her soul's desires.
Mm. Does her mind believe that, Soul?
Sometimes
Why doesn't it believe that all the time, Soul? What holds it back from believing that always?
parental voices, mainly.
Mm. How can she let those go?
Challenging them. It will be interesting with her mother on this trip to Japan.
What does challenging them look like for Christine, Soul?
Holding true to her truth.
Will that be difficult for the mind, Soul?
At times.
How can you remind her of her truth in those moments, Soul?
in those quiet moments of having that being held feeling. She remembers.
Mm. Can she connect to that feeling more often? So,
More often. It's a funny thing. Once again, it's about time. More often. No, not necessarily more often. She already tunes in multiple times daily. It's more of recognizing situations that pull her out and finding the way to excuse intruding thoughts and memories.
is there anything that you'd like Christine to be doing more or less of in those moments, Soul?
Breathing, coming back to the breath, especially the microcosmic orbit, to help move that energy through and ground it into the earth while pulling in source energy from above.
Is there anything else that Christine needs to know today in her voice?
She is well and on the path to trust it.
Mm. Anything else that she needs to know, Soul?
She is safe to share her love.
Anything else, Soul?
She is love.
How can she step into that more fully today, Soul?
To remind those around her
Remind them of what, Soul?
that she loves deeply. She loves the connection.
And will that connection nurture others as well, Soul?
Yes, there will be a ripple effect. When she holds her daughter will remember that she was attended to as a child, and therefore her grandchildren will also have that nourishment. There is a ripple effect.
Beautiful. Is there anything else that Christine needs to know today, Soul?
She is safe to be loved and to receive love.
Is she complete for today, Soul?
Yes,
Is she enough?
yes,
Is she safe?
yes,
Is she loved?
yes,
Is she love?
yes,
And is she safe to experience and share all of that?
yes.
Anything else you want to say today, Soul?
And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Soul. Beautiful. So, Christine, starting to take deeper and deeper breaths. Feeling your awareness start to rise up through your body, up, lifting up and up from your belly, through your chest, past your collarbones, coming to rest in your throat, bringing your awareness back to your physical senses, consciously hearing the sound of my voice, hearing the noises in the room around you, feeling the chair that you're sitting in, feeling the clothes on your skin, feeling the air as it comes in through your nose, out through your mouth. Every breath bringing you a little more energy, a little more presence, coming back to your physical body, back to your room. Good. Taking any gentle movement that you need. Taking your time to come all the way back whenever you're ready. So, as Christine comes back, for those of you who were listening in, I want to just highlight a couple of things here. When it comes to soul speak, Christine is fairly advanced. So it's unusual to get that many sentences in a row, which is why it's such a treat to have her as our demo, because you can see, you could hear in her voice that she wasn't talking from her mind. You guys hear her talking from her mind and from channeling the divine on the podcast all of the time, but you could hear that in the word choices, in the cadence of her voice, in the intensity of the words that came out, that she was connected to something deeper. And that is the power of going in and connecting with your soul, because our mind is going to use 20 words where the soul will use 5. So there were a few phrases in there that really packed that kind of energetic punch, that had that depth of spiritual wisdom. And I also want to highlight that it gave her really tangible tools and techniques that she can use, from the yoni yoga to the microcosmic orbit to breathing to going and holding her sick daughter and being present with her. So it was this really nice combination of that spiritual wisdom and connection, and the practical advice and techniques that she can use to continue this alignment forward. One of the things that I hear people say all the time is, well, my intuition doesn't, it doesn't really help me with the day-to-day stuff, or it doesn't really help me make a decision. It's more of just a feeling. And I love that we got a glimpse of Christine's today, showing us that no, our intuition can give us just as tangible tools and techniques as our mind can. But the beauty is that they're coming directly from, like you heard her say, that drop of the universe. They're coming directly from the divine, directly from our soul when we get them pulling up in those moments. So, Christine, now that you're back in your body, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Yeah, it was interesting in the fact that at one point in the beginning, I started speaking my celestial language. And I was like, no, no, it has to come through in English. I had to make sure that, like it's so easy for me to tap into that intuitive space to be in my celestial language and not in English. And so I was like, okay, this has to be in English. I had to put that boundary in for my soul speak, to make sure it was not only audible, but also understandable to everyone. So that
And
was,
I love that, because if you look back at the video, you can see that there are times where an answer came up, something came up from your soul, and your mind is kind of like, what was that? Like you can see it trying to train. And I love that, because it shows once again how our mind was designed to be a tool. Our mind is like the translator. I like to tell my students and clients in these cases that you can think of the mind kind of like a radio, right? Like the sound waves, the energy is already in the air, but the radio is this tool that takes that energy and transforms it into something that we can hear. And that's exactly what our mind was designed to be for our soul. Is our soul is this frequency holder. And when we go into this space of soul speak, we're tapping in to the energy of our soul, to the energy of the divine within. And we get to bring our mind along for the ride to figure out how to translate it into English, into words that we're going to understand here on earth, so that we can then use those to go live our life. How are you feeling compared to when you started today? I'm curious if you could tell people how it feels coming out of being connected with your soul.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it feels amazing to be in that space too. Like it's not uncomfortable by any means. It actually feels like your most authentic self is available. Like my energy is really calm, which is nice because I think when I started, there was definitely a layer of anxiety after coming off of the busyness of the morning. And I can hear my daughter watching like Pokemon in the background. Like I have things going on in my house. I have the sick child in my house, and really feeling like, okay, did I get everything checked off? Like to be able to come onto this call and have this container to do this work and not be distracted. So I definitely felt that there was a layer, like it felt like a curtain over my chest in the beginning of anxiety, and my jaw was a little tight. And now that's just gone now.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Christine. I do want to thank you for being willing to come on and share not only your mind's voice, but your soul's voice. This is something that we could go. Christine and I have done these for multiple hours at a time. And what I love about Soul Speak is that it always looks different, but everyone always walks away with exactly what they needed because it's your soul, it's your intuition. And whether that's through teaching students how to shamanic journey or walking them through soul contracts like Chantel is teaching in her masterclass, or all of the different things that we do here at Moon Rising, our goal is always to connect you with your intuition so that you're not saying, well, Christine did it this way, or Isabel said this, or Chantel does this. It's what does your intuition say? What does your soul need in this moment? And for me, Soul Speak is my number one way that I connect with my intuition. And it's absolutely incredible to see how clearly, once we know how to tap into our soul, how clearly its voice can come through and how clearly it can be heard. So I hope that you enjoyed this demo today. I hope that this little tip of the iceberg taste of what Soul Speak can be inspired you to know that whether you connect to it through Soul Speak or through a shamanic journey or through meditation or through Reiki or through whatever it is for you, that your soul, your intuition is waiting for you. It has a voice, it has things to share with you, it has wisdom and love for you. And it is here to show you that you are enough, that you are where you're meant to be, and to be that internal GPS to take you where you're meant to go. So I hope that this has given you some inspiration, some food for thought. If you're interested in diving deeper into Soul Speak and seeing exactly how it can apply to your life and learning all of the theory and the psychology and the spirituality behind it, please consider joining me for the Soul Speak Masterclass. If you would rather just do a one-on-one session with me, I absolutely love holding space for Soul Speak sessions. We'll drop you into your intuition and get you some really individualized one-on-one connection so that you can know exactly what your soul is trying to say to you. And if not, feel free to listen along with that first meditation that we did at the beginning. If you're feeling like you're just too stuck in your mind and you need to drop down and find some calm for your day, feel free to come back to just that meditation. And I hope that if you have any questions or shares, we would love to hear them over in the Moon Rising Facebook group. And of course, I'm always here if you want to reach out. But I hope that this has given you some inspiration and joy, knowing that your soul is here for you, that it has a voice that can be just as clear as your mind, and that if we tap into it, it can become our whole world and that guiding light. So thank you again, Christine, for being our demo for today. And until next time, may you awaken to the whispers of wisdom rising from within.